Thanks, Greg, for the opportunity to be here again. I think this is one of the best formatted shows that I've been associated with. Skip through these quickly and tell you a little bit about Ely Gold. We currently have interest in 70 properties, primarily in Nevada, and of those properties, 40 of them are currently being worked by third parties. And we have interest in these properties. Either about half of those, 21, are a royalty interest. So we don't have any ownership of the property anymore, but we do have a royalty, and the third party is working on them. These would be royalties, a few we've bought from third parties, but mainly these are created when we sell a property outright to a company and allow them to go in and do the exploration, and we just maintain the royalty. The other 19 of our properties that are being worked are properties we've sold to third parties under an option contract. The option should say, you know, we don't do any joint ventures. We either sell a property outright or with the option, and the option will run generally around 4 years with escalating payments. We don't put work commitments on the companies, but we are fairly selective in our properties of that they're going to people that are companies that are well funded. If you look at our portfolio, there we have some presentations outside that show the list of our counterparties, and these are companies, two or three. Well, two of the companies are up here on the panel today. A few more are scattered around this show, where we've provided the properties and maintained a royalty interest. We got into this business about 2 years ago, so to give you an idea of how many deals we've done is in quite a short period of time. And our specialty, where we set ourselves apart from other companies that are generating projects, is we've got an extensive database for the Western United States, primarily Nevada. That came from a compilation of 2 transactions we did, one with a prospector named Jerry Bachman, who is now in our, he's the president of our royalties subsidiary, and Bill Sheriff from Golden Predator, who we last year purchased all of his data and his Nevada properties. One of the things that we've done using this database is consolidated some properties that have not seen exploration. And that's one of the reasons we've excelled in being able to attract really quality companies to the projects. And these will involve, like in the case of Mina Gold, Gold Bar, Weepaw, and Tonopah, where we've done transactions to buy patented claims from a couple of different parties. In the case of, say, Tonopah, we staked some properties, we purchased bought in some of the royalties that were burdening the property, and then we optioned that property to Core Mining, and they actually just finished the first drill program there. One of those holes hit over 20 ounces of silver, and the Tonopah being one of the largest silver producing areas in Nevada. So with that database, we are able to locate the properties and provide the companies with extensive databases. So they're not starting on these properties. Most of our properties have historic resources. Many of them, in fact, all 4 of the ones that are listed at the top there were producing mines. Give you an idea of the listing of some of our counterparties. Gold Resource, we've done 3 deals with them where we've outright sold them properties. This is for their new Nevada mining unit, where they just got their final permitting for their Isabella Pearl project. And we own all the exploration ground around their property at Isabella, and then 2 satellite deposits, the Mina Gold and County Line. So they expect to be in production now in the next year. We're not exactly sure when our royalties will, when our properties will be producing, but what they're looking at now is the idea of pulling the satellite projects into the production at Isabella Pearl. But I think Hochschild Mining is another name. Fiore Exploration is the guys who took over the Midway gold assets, and Allegiant Gold, which is a spin-out from Columbus. And these might point out that with all these companies too, we're not just an also-ran project. In the case of Allegiant, we have the underlying lease on a property that's the extension of their flagship East Side project. Give you an idea of our capital structure and where we sit as far as our enterprise value and market cap. Got about 70, I'm going to update here as we're on the fly. We just had 3 million warrants. Of the warrants were exercised. And so we actually are up to around 79 million shares outstanding and a few less and 3 million less warrants there. We've got about $2.5 million in the bank, another $1.2 million in stock of Gold Resource and some of our other third-party counterparts where we take partial payment on our options and sales in stock of the companies. Myself, I have finance background. Jerry Bachman, I mentioned, an old prospector. We have Scott Kelly is our CFO. He works for a couple of other companies as well. Tom Wharton, Bill Sheriff, both on the board, add a lot of knowledge and on the exploration and data for these projects. This slide just says the transformative transactions that we've done, which I already mentioned, is purchasing both Jerry's assets in 2016 and Bill's assets last year. We also did a transaction with Wolfpack Gold, where we added to the database and picked up a few royalties. This slide shows us compared to some of the other companies in what we might call the emerging royalty space. And the big takeaway is that with our cash and stock portfolio backed out of a stock trading at about 10 cents right now, so our enterprise value is about $6 million, and it's about 1/10 of the companies that are on the list here. When we talk about emerging royalty companies, we define that class as royalty owners which have just a few or no actual producing royalties. And we're trading at about 1/10 of the price of an EMX or an Abitibi. And we think that once the market realizes what we're doing, we've only been doing this for a couple of years, but we're looking for a real revalue on our stock. This gives you an idea of the option and royalty portfolio, what it's generating today. Again, to be clear, none of our royalties are actually on producing mines, but on exploration and development. But this year, our option portfolio, along with a few advanced royalties, will generate about $2 million in revenue. We operate like a royalty company, so we have very low overhead. Jerry and I are the only two full-time employees at the company. The rest of this going out to 2021 shows the growing revenue stream. And this is not projected. This is with adding up just the contracts that are in place. So we'll start next year with about $1.5 million revenue on the books before we do a single deal. Mm-hmm. So just to sum it up, we've got a very effective royalty generation model, and we feel like we offer shareholders a great leverage to the Nevada exploration plays, and And with that, I'll wind it up here. Thank you.